Hello and welcome to the West Asia Post. I'm your host Ghadi Francis, and this is our weekly show where we bring you all things big West Asia. This week we have a lot lined up for you, from decoding what does the invitation to join the BRICS bloc for some West Asian nations mean, to going on the Israeli streets where women are protesting for gender equality, and to Iraq where there's a disarming of the Kurdish groups on the go. Before we dive in this week's lineup, take a look at the headlines.
Turkey's Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan meets Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in Moscow. The meeting chronicled discussions around a possible alternative to the expired Black Sea grain deal. Iraq hangs 3 people convicted in a deadly 2016 vehicle bombing in Baghdad, which killed more than 300 people and injured hundreds. The deadliest bombing occurred during the holy month of Ramadan. Iran bans a weightlifter for life over a handshake with his Israeli competitor at an event in Poland. Mustafa Rajai shook hands with Israeli weightlifter Maxim Swirsky after they both stood on the podium at a World Masters Championship.
Now, just a little over a week ago, the BRICS bloc invited United Arab Emirates, Iran and Saudi Arabia to join their alliance. Now, these nations are keen to strengthen ties with China and the global south. And while this membership to the BRICS bloc could add political and economical imperative to the UAE, Saudi and Iran, what would it change for West Asia's global presence? And would this move affect the dynamics with the United States? Here is a report.
The 15th BRICS Summit, which was held recently in Johannesburg, South Africa, took a big step to expand its reach. After much deliberation, 6 countries were extended an invitation to join the forum. 3 of them are West Asian countries. BRICS leaders offered Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates a seat at their table.
We have decided to invite the Argentine Republic, the Arab Republic of Egypt, the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates to become full members of BRICS. The membership will take effect from the 1st of January 2024. Thank you very much.
This move has far-reaching implications for West Asia on the global front. For one, BRICS opening its doors to Iran has immense significance for the Islamic Republic. With heavy US sanctions slammed on the country, joining the BRICS alliance gives Iran trade leverage in the global south.
The decision made by BRICS members to expand this group is a commendable move that paves the way for a global expansion within the framework of justice.
For Saudi Arabia, the decision to join the bloc weighs in not just on economic factors, but also political ones. The freedom to manage its own affairs in the region has been a long-held ambition. Experts say that the move indicates a significant step away from ties with the US.
The strategic relationship between the kingdom and the countries of the BRICS group is reinforced by frameworks of common principles, the most prominent of which is the firm belief in the principle of respecting the sovereignty and independence of states, not interfering in their affairs, adhering to principles of international law, and settling disputes by peaceful means.
The Saudi foreign minister recalled the unflattering history of the West, particularly the United States in the region and its record of meddling in regional affairs. The volatile region has seen an influx of military and diplomatic interference from Washington, from the war in Iraq to the ongoing crisis in Yemen. But there are a number of factors that influenced Iran, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia's decision to join the booming alliance. First, the nations are looking at deepening economic collaboration with China. Second, with the US seemingly losing interest in the West Asian region, it is a prime opportunity for enhancing presence in the global south. 3. The step signifies moves towards hastening a perceived shift in the world order. Experts have pegged the BRICS to be a viable counterweight to the West G7 alliance. Joining the BRICS bloc could weaken the Western vantage point and shift the global perspective. High on the agenda of the BRICS group is facilitating trade through local currencies. This is a key factor which drew in Iran, the UAE and Saudi Arabia. Does this mean that the once domineering presence the United States had in the West Asian region is now declining? More importantly, as the BRICS expands to take in West Asia, what does Washington stand to lose the most? On the one hand, the US loses out on massive oil imports to its rival, China. The Asian power is already Saudi Arabia's biggest oil customer. With the oil giant slashing global exports significantly, the US has reason to worry about domestic supply and price volatility of fuel. That's not all. For the US, fears loom large over the gathering trend towards de-dollarization. The BRICS bloc is keen on facilitating trade through local currencies. Should this become a reality, there is serious concern over oil-producing Iran, Saudi and the UAE making a move to price oil in non-dollar currencies. And that might mark the beginning of the end of the petrodollar, although the petrodollar is unlikely to be hard hit in the near future.
The Iraq-Iran borders is back in the spotlight once again. The Kurdistan region is causing issues for these countries. Now Tehran has given a deadline for Baghdad. They are warning them to disarm the Kurdish rebel groups in their territory. With the border security at stake and infiltrations on the rise, what comes next for the Kurdish communities? Here's a report.
Tehran has warned Baghdad to honor the border deal it signed in March, but Iraq's impending action hangs on a tight September 19th deadline.
According to a deal reached between the Iranian and Iraqi governments, the Iraqi government has pledged to disarm armed terrorist groups in Iraq and Iraqi Kurdistan by September 19th. After this deadline, if Iraq fails to meet its commitments, the Iranian government will assume its responsibility in order to ensure the country's security.
Earlier this year, the neighboring countries held a security meeting to address Iran's concerns. The Iraqi government had agreed to disarm the Kurdish rebel groups inside its territory, evacuate them from their bases, and shift them to government-monitored camps.
The Iraqi constitution, which clearly indicates that Iraqi territories cannot be used to attack neighboring countries. Therefore, our commitment to border security is related to Iraqi constitution. The strategic relationship between the kingdom and the countries of the BRICS group is reinforced by frameworks of common principles, the most prominent of which is the firm belief in the principle of respecting the sovereignty and independence of states, not interfering in their affairs, adhering to principles of international law, and settling disputes by peaceful means. The Iraqi constitution, which clearly indicates that Iraqi territories cannot be used to attack neighboring countries.
When it comes to decades of simmering tensions and sporadic conflict, the West Asian region has always been in the eye of a storm. Iran and its neighbor are no exception to a complex, often tense past, some of which has been mired in violence. While both nations have made efforts to surf the diplomatic waves, there remains among other issues a major thorn of contention: the Kurdish separatists. The Kurds are one of the world's largest communities without an independent state. They're also a sizable minority in both Iran and Iraq. For years now, Kurdish separatists have been fighting for an autonomous region of their own. And Iranian authorities have been trying to quash this rebellion, launching attacks on Kurdish opposition groups that have been long exiled. Iran's government has been opposed to the Kurdistan Workers' Party, which it views as a terrorist organization. But lately, the country has also accused the separatist factions of fueling protests last year. The protests had erupted after 22-year-old Iranian Kurdish woman Mahsa Amini suspiciously died in police custody. But why is the onus on Iraq to disarm the Kurdish rebellion? In 2005, Iraq granted constitutional recognition to Kurdish autonomy. This move marked a significant step towards greater self-governance for the Kurdish community. Geographically, the Kurdish region lies just along the border which Iraq shares with Iran. The geopolitical significance of the Kurdish region has raised concerns for Iran, fearing a wider conflict in the region.
Israelis are boiling. Ever since the judicial overhaul, there were unprecedented protests all over. But something new has turned up now: gender equality. Women have joined the protests for gender equality, especially in Orthodox communities. On the other end of the spectrum, some Orthodox groups attacked a woman mayor. Now, many fear that the judicial overhaul will further escalate the clamp on women's rights. Take a look.
Israel is witnessing protests. This time, it's not about the controversial judicial reforms. A series of incidents have brought the women out on the streets. They no longer feel safe or even seem to be safe as Orthodox elements are politically rising in the country.
This is the worst government Israel ever had when it comes to women's rights. They are trying to harm women's rights, and the reason why they're doing it is because it's an ultra-orthodox fanatic government, okay? And they're trying to impose halakha laws. They're trying to impose religious law over our public arena, and we're here to say no more.
Women gathered in the city of Bnei Brak near Tel Aviv to fight for the cause of gender equality, an issue that has divided Israeli society since the debate over judicial overhaul began in the country. Lines have been drawn and blocks defined. On the one hand, there are those who support a secular, democratic Israel where women's rights are respected. And on the other, there are those who want the religious and conservative view to prevail, which allows dictating women's lives. Women fear a weaker judiciary will further trample on their freedom and would give rise to more inequality. Recent incidents have only affirmed their concerns. Bus rides have become increasingly unsafe. Gender segregation has been introduced in buses. Women are either forced to sit at the back of the bus or simply not taken on board. They are increasingly finding themselves at the center of criticism for dressing in an immodest way. Conservatives have taken upon themselves to define modest dressing. Some people have gone to the extent of raising placards saying no tight-fitting clothes. Their demands are not novel. They want women covered up from head to toe. But one is living in the 21st century, and Israeli women are no longer mere objects to be dictated by regressive religious fanatics.
Not allow anyone to send us to the backside of the bus. We will not allow anyone to erase our faces from signs. We will not allow anyone to tell us where and when we can enter. We will not allow anyone to tell us what to wear, where to go.
Women political leaders are also being targeted. Beit Shemesh's mayor, Eliza Bloch, was held hostage for nearly 2 hours during a school visit, as rioters hurled objects at the school building and vandalized her car parked outside. This happened days after placards with Bloch's face on it were vandalized by extremists. Women in Israel have a long battle ahead of them. They are fighting for their rights, the right to choose what they want to wear, the right to decide their career, and the right to live a life of their choice. And it's not just a section of people they are battling against, but rather an ideology.
And now to war-ravaged Palestine, where the women have joined a noble cause: recycling, upcycling, and getting rid of paper waste. Take a look.
The West Bank has been ravaged by conflicts for years. Ruins of destroyed buildings that were once homes and schools. Long-drawn violence, raging protests and recurring airstrikes are a common sight in the region. But in the midst of destruction are bursts of color emerging from the heaps of used clothes that one can find discarded in the city of Ramallah. Palestinian women here have taken matters into their own hands, striving for a better environment. The women have introduced several initiatives to promote recycling, upcycling, and thrifting. These projects have also given women a source of livelihood in an otherwise unstable and financially stripped region. But the work does not end at just empowering Palestinian women. Money earned from these ventures is used to support underprivileged students of Ramallah. Children who have lost homes, families, and proper education to war receive help from this environment-friendly initiative.
The Prophet supports the community leadership, which then implements and distributes these donations that come through the used clothes and supports the underprivileged students fund.
It's not just clothes that the local women are trying to salvage. Piles of waste paper in the city is also a major recycling project undertaken of late. Official numbers reveal that Palestinians generate nearly 5,000 tons of solid waste per day. This amounts to a total of around 1.8 million tons the entire year. A substantial chunk of this waste is used paper.
Instead of moving the problem from one area to another in Ramallah and Al-Biray Governorate and in the West Bank as a whole, we are trying to take the paper waste to recycling factories in order to solve the problem radically.
Omar El Ard is one such organization leading the cause of recycling paper in the city. The venture is a lead exporter of used paper from the West Bank. It exports the paper waste to countries like Turkey and China, where it can be recycled The company, spearheaded by a woman, is ensuring its part in rebuilding the earth. The irony of the impactful environmentalism stemming from a region ravaged by conflict is not lost on anyone.
And now with the last report to Dubai, where there's always something new and a little bit extraordinary. Have you ever heard of gourmet water? There is an aqua bar in Dubai offering more than 30 kinds of mineral water. Who said hydration has to be boring? We tell you more.
On the first glance, this place in Dubai looks like just another bar. Fancy, colorful drinks, a modern, minimalistic ambience. But here's the catch. The focus of the menu is not alcohol or fancy cocktail mixes, it's water. But this water is not ordinary. It comes with a gourmet twist.
We are the first ever gourmet water bar that I know of. And we have 30 different recipes that come out of one system. That's what makes us unique. Most filters, most filtration systems, you can get still or sparkling. Here you can microdose the minerals to give you your own special taste and your own special water.
The customization of mineral content has drawn eyeballs to this unique aqua venture. On offer are drinks like Meditate Water, which is said to have a very low degree of minerals in it. Then there's citrus water, described as an ideal post-workout drink. With health and fitness frenzy on social media pushing people to make more mindful lifestyle choices, one might say that the water bar is a perfectly timed business opportunity. And that's not all. The aqua business hopes to promote sustainability amongst its customers, discouraging the use of plastic bottles. Studies in the UAE reveal that one individual uses an average of 450 plastic bottles in a year. Ventures that promote reusable bottles instead of plastic are critical to this West Asian country's vision to achieve net zero emissions by 2050. So it's time to say, raise the toast and say cheers with water.
That's all we have for you on this edition of the West Asia Post. I will see you next week with a brand new lineup, always bringing you the most recent updates, news and ground reports from one of the world's most volatile regions. Until then, stay safe. I'm your host, Ghadi Francis, coming to you from the heart of Beirut, Lebanon, and you're watching WION World is One.